GameWorn Radio is on the air.
Hey! Shelton scores! Up in the Cordova, baby! We're going bowling. Now, let's go hunt moose on a Harley. The fires, he scores! L.A. face with an Oakland booty. Scores! Make me a bicycle club. They score! Bowmeister paid that man his money.
GameWorn Radio.
Hey everybody, it's Derek with GameWorn Radio, part of GameWorn.us. I'm here with Marco, Bert, Eric, and Paul, and we're going to be talking to you guys a little bit today about the definition, or what some might consider a grail, as well as social media inside of the hobby and how people use it, things like that. But first, for the people that are listening live because they want to get that $1 raffle ticket, the location of the $1 raffle ticket box is on the Thomas Hurdle consignment page. So if you go to the store, find the Thomas Hurdle. If you scroll down just a little bit on the page, you'll see the mystery box, and there's you can purchase your $1 raffle ticket, and that's going to last for the duration of the show. Once the show ends, that's going to go away, so grab it while you can. Alright guys, so first up on the docket is the nice big controversy that we had. Some people might have read part of the thread while it was still alive about the definition of a grail. Now we have the author of that thread here with us, Marco. How's it going, Marco?
What's up? Okay, well, a lot to say.
All right. Well, do we want to start with you so you can kind of recap what the thread is since it got nuked?
Yeah, okay, so first of all, what I basically said was, first of all, it was an opinion column, okay, or a post, or whatever you want to call it. Everyone taking it to heart, like it's 100% fact, and calling me an asshole and stuff like that. That was ridiculous, first of all. Okay, so I said typically when you're talking about a grail, it should be, this is what really pissed people off. It should cost, more than $200, and everyone's like, "Oh, I got a grail from my favorite player who played at Michigan, and it was I paid $150," and they're all upset, and they're saying, they're talking like I'm a millionaire or something like that. I don't make very much money, like I'm not a rich guy or anything like that. I'm just saying that, you shouldn't be able to work your 9 to 5 at McDonald's and pick up something and post it online and say it's a grail. And other thing, where, people just don't put any research into it, they don't know anything about the player, and they, there's nothing, there's no significance to it, never mind for the hobby, but for that person. So it's, I guess it's all a matter of public opinion what a grail is. Everyone's got their own opinion on it. But even when you get down to it, even like sentimental value, is that really a grail? Is it though? Because if I'm going to post a picture of a really nice car, I'm not going to post a picture of a 92 beat up Honda Civic that my grandfather gave me because it's got sentimental value. It's, nothing wrong with sentimental value. I understand that you like a player and, he's got a special place in your heart. That's great. But to call that a grail, is it really though? I guess there are extenuating circumstances. Like you see, Sean Chalk just posted a jersey, and I think he's from Newfoundland or New Brunswick.
He's from Alberta.
Where's
Fort McMurray.
Yeah, he lives in Fort McMurray. I don't think he was born there though. He posted it. Sorry?
He's from Newfoundland originally.
He's from Newfoundland, right? And he posted a jersey, some like 50s or 60s jersey of a player that he got out of Newfoundland, and he might have gotten the jersey for free. And I said, typically you're going to spend more than $200, and typically you will on a grail. Give me a break. Come on. But a jersey like that, I've got nothing wrong with the guy considering that a grail. There's probably a lot of research that went into it, a lot of time involved in obtaining it. It's fairly rare, You're not going to see it very often. It's not like you posting a fucking Tyler Bozak jersey or something like that and calling it a Grail, But but people just completely misconstrued the topic and were up in arms, and I just thought it was ridiculous.
I think first and foremost, like we kind of have to take a look at the perspective, and I've had this issue in things outside of the collecting hobby too, as far as people getting pissed off for really dumb reasons about things that you post that's opinion. Like if you post it somewhere, people put their own like stir or tone on your words, and there's nothing you can really do about it, and then they go and they react, and it creates this big chain of events based on their initial reaction to something that wasn't meant the way it was, and they assume something without clarifying first, and that I got that problem in life too. But I can't, like, for me, I kind of think there's different levels of Grails, and I think it's situational. Like for me, I'm a Glendenning collector. Some of the things that I can't get, I know I can't get, those are Grails to me because I'm trying to get all of them, and I can't because I know where they are and the people aren't moving them. If they do move them, it'd be for a crazy price. So like I consider like some of the ones that I pick up along the way mini Grails. For example, I just recently got my first University of Michigan Glendenning, and it took me a while to work a deal out for it. But there's not a lot of University of Michigan Glendenning jerseys that are going to be available. I mean, I know Paul has one, and I've been harping on him for the better part of 2 years to try and get that off of him. And I mean, that isn't even the ultimate Grail. He's working on, like, my ultimate Grail for himself. So, for me, like, that Grail stature is kind of like the battle amongst other collectors. Like, I know they have it in their collection. They're not getting rid of it. If I were to get rid of it, it would be, or get them to get rid of it, it would be a really sweet win for me, just because I know it's not going to happen. So it's kind of like one of those deals. So it might not mean anything to anyone else, but for the fact that the ones that are out there that I know are out there, they're not going anywhere. They're extremely hard, or will be hard to get. That makes it a Grail to me, if you know what I mean.
I get what you mean. I mean, when you talk about a Grail, I think of the Holy Grail, right? There's, it's, kind of like is it out there? Is it not out there? Or it's extremely rare. There's only one of them. It's got some kind of significance to it. I think there's nothing wrong with, listen, I don't think anything I own is considered a Grail. I've never posted a jersey and said it's a Grail. So if I were to post a jersey, I would say, oh, this has some sentimental value to me, or this is significant to my collection. But a Grail, and Perry Nelson was one of the only ones with enough balls to actually, kind of agree. I mean, I had like 12 people that liked the post in the first hour, and then after that, everyone was calling me a dickhead. And none of the other 12 people that hit the like button never ever had enough balls to chime in. But Perry Nelson said something like a Howe or a Lemieux or a Gretzky or an Orr, like that was what was considered a Grail like 5-10 years ago. And I've got nothing. Like, listen, again, I want to reiterate, I don't have anything in my collection that I consider a Grail, and I think I have some pretty nice jerseys. Do I have a jersey that has sentimental value to me? Sure. But is it a Grail? Is it something I would consider a Grail in the traditional definition outside of our hobby? A Grail? Nah, I don't think so.
Marco, I actually was posting when the thread got nuked. I did kind of agree with you. I'd say about 80% of what you said. The problem I have with the whole Grail thing is that, it's a Grail. It's one jersey, okay? If you consider or Gretzky, Howe, those are cool jerseys to own, but they aren't Grails to you. Grail jerseys are one. There is one jersey. whether it's, the Alec Martinez Stanley Cup Final jersey. That's a Grail for somebody, okay? Not, a Pelle Lindbergh practice jersey. Why is that? I mean, a Pelle Lindbergh would be cool to own, sure. But why a practice jersey? Did he do something special in said jersey? No, it'd just be cool to own a Lindbergh. Now the Lindbergh '85 Stanley Cup Finals, yeah, that's a Grail. Okay, that's my problem. And of course, the guy that says he's got a Grail and 2 months later he's selling it. You know,
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean that's kind of ridiculous. Or here's my Grail, and it's somebody in their family. Well, that's not a Grail. That's a collection. Okay, a Grail
Right.
is the one jersey that you've been searching for. I actually have mine. Finding it, I didn't even think it existed. Um, you know, I had other collectors help me find it, and really after having this, I don't, everything else is just collecting at that point.
And I think that speaks to the heart of it, it's like the one you've been searching for, the one that has that kind of importance. I don't know. I'm still up in the air on if a Grail should be something with considerable significance to the hobby in general. But at least let's have a definition of what it is. I mean, okay, we have definitions for other things in the hobby. Like you look at what people consider a hammered jersey. Hammered jersey is supposed to be something with 10 repairs, as far as I'm concerned. So why are all these other things shrouded in mystery? Why can't we actually define what a Grail is, or a hammered jersey, or what's good wear, or what's decent wear, or what's little to no wear? Why are we so afraid to kind of try to define these things? I mean, it's completely unprofessional to be that invested and involved in a hobby, and the hobby doesn't even know what it's talking about. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, but I paid 1,000 for mine. I would have paid 4,000.
Yeah.
I mean, when the team told me they still had it, which I thought it was, backdoored or shredded or recycled or whatever. When they said still had it, I would have paid whatever they asked. That was their fault.
And I think what I think that speaks to some of the effort that you put into obtaining the jersey. I mean, actually calling the team and doing that kind of research. A lot of people that go on, that get on my Grail summer sale on a practice jersey. Oh, it's a Grail. And that's the part that really pisses me off, because it does.
It would have never
made
made it to a summer sale if it was your Grail.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, typically,
part.
anyways, right? I guess there's exceptions for everything, but typically, it wouldn't, right?
Right.
So that was my whole argument behind the whole thing, and I guess it got blown out of proportion. But I probably did come off like an asshole. I mean, I didn't state right off the bat that it was too much of an opinion piece. I was more trying to state things, like they were facts, which I guess I shouldn't have done. But shouldn't we have at least some clarity on this stuff? I mean,
no, I agree. But my problem is the term Grails, plural. There's no such thing. It's one. It's it.
Right.
Me personally, I'd like to own a Gretzky, but there's not one jersey Gretzky, that would be cool to own to me. It's not. It'd still be a cool part of my collection, and you're damn right I would part with it if the right money came around.
Oh, guaranteed.
But
anyone's gonna part with anything if the right money comes along. Give me a break, even if I had something I considered a Grail, if someone offers me enough money to pay off my house, bye Grail,
Well, yeah.
Everything's got a price.
Everything's got a price.
So if there is one Grail, can it change over time?
I think so. I think people change over time. Certainly, I don't agree with someone that posts 2 Grails in 1 week. That's a little ridiculous. But I think that people's interests change over time, and I think as you become more educated in the hobby, you might start to appreciate things a little differently. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like it was said, like a Gretzky, like, is that a Grail? I mean, I think that would be a Grail, but I think some people confuse what a Grail is with something that has a lot of sentimental value to them. To me, a Gretzky doesn't have a lot of sentimental value. I would love it. I would love to have a Gretzky. Don't get me wrong, but when Gretzky, knocked my Leafs out in 92, 93, and he shouldn't have. He should have been penalized, and we should have won, and it was ridiculous. But nonetheless, I would love to own a Gretzky. But
So is that the Gretzky you want?
no, I don't want that, Gretzky. I'll take that to the ACC and burn it publicly. No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't burn $80,000 in public. No way.
He'll take it and consign it.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it and consign it. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know. I still challenge you that I think there's like a difference depending on the type of collector you are. Like there are some of us that are completionists. So I know a couple player collectors out there that as they get more and more of that player, obviously getting the other ones that are out there become harder and harder to get. And when you get down to the final 2, 3 that exist, but you either don't know where they are, so you're trying to find them to complete the entire set, or anything along those lines. You do know where it is, but the person just absolutely will not trade or sell it. I think
Sorry,
that's where we have to have a little leniency.
Well, of course.
Or come up with a different word.
Isn't that more a collecting focus or collecting goals rather than an absolute grail? I mean, I've had a couple collecting focuses, or goals, I should say, in this hobby. One of them's to get a jersey of a former University of Michigan player for every NHL team. We recently accomplished that thanks to the MyGray $100 sale, because I could not justify buying a Avalanche jersey for anything over $100. You struggled to buy that one, but that was the last one. You look at MyGray site. There's a bunch of Wolverines who played for the Avalanche, and they're all fairly cheap and they're easy to get. But I just could not bring myself to actually buy an Avalanche jersey. Nothing in that search we were having was a Grail to me. My Grail's totally unrelated to anything Michigan.
So, what would everyone's Grail? If you could name one jersey you guys would love to own, let's have to call it a Grail. What would it be?
One jersey? I haven't thought about this question in like a really long time.
I can explain mine. So I mean, I have 33 Brendan Witt jerseys. The one that I always wanted was the Caps in 96-97 wore a JB patch. He came up and was supposed to be the next Scott Stevens. They touted him up. They got him in the Scott Stevens trade to St. Louis as one of the number ones. And, of course, he came up and through training camp, preseason, was just running over dudes, fighting anybody, not winning them all. But, as a young college hockey player, I was like all into this guy because that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to hit people. I didn't give a shit that there was a puck out there. I just wanted to run around and hit people. So this was kind of like my guy. So for many years, the Flyers have kicked the Caps' ass, and not only in the actual score, but in physicality. So there was a game late in 97. Witt fights Kordic, kicks his ass. Kordic's nose is all busted, and that's when I really wanted to start collecting jerseys, because I said I wanted that jersey. Now, 32 Wits later, I still didn't have it. I didn't think it existed. I had the home version. I thought maybe he had it, and I've actually had talked to him, and he had a couple, which were kind of cool, but it wasn't that jersey. Eventually, some other Caps collectors said, "Look, team's got this. I've seen it." Team contacted me, said, "Hey, we got it. We'll let you go for this." They actually had it for sale at a game that I wasn't attending, and luckily it didn't sell because I guess that price was too outrageous for others. But I eventually got it, matched it to said fight, and that's back when they would wear them for pretty much a whole season, except for the last 3 games of the season after they took the team picture, so they could have a nice white jersey for that. But that was my Grail. And really, he's got a Stanley Cup final jersey. I that'd be cool to own. It's not that jersey. That's the one I wanted. So, everything else after that is just kind of cool to own. I got a Forsberg. I got, I've had a Brodeur. I've had a Sundin. I've had a lot of cool jerseys, but none of them are that jersey. So, my kids will be selling that guy off. I won't be
You'd
selling.
be buried with that.
I won't be
fucker.
selling it in 2 weeks on Facebook for $50 more than what I paid for it. My kids will be selling that guy off, or my grandkids, one of the two. So I mean, that's the whole reason I'm in the hobby.
Okay,
Who's
I think
next?
I've figured out what mine would
That
be.
was good.
All right, mine would be the 1997 Stanley Cup Final Steve Yzerman white jersey. I believe they won the
Why
cup.
the white? Is that the one he hosted the cup with?
Yeah, I believe they won the cup that year wearing the white jersey, and so that would be his first cup lift.
Yeah, they wore the
You
red.
should-
Yeah. So
You shouldn't have had a kid, Derek. You shouldn't have had a kid.
Hey,
You'll never be able to afford that jersey.
when my kid hits the NHL because I built this rink in the basement for him to skate on, he'll get me one. The one.
When he makes the NHL, he'll buy you that jersey.
you just
Yeah.
need to call up the Lightning and see if Steve will part with it.
Yeah, he probably has it, doesn't he?
Yeah,
At least you know
probably
where it is, right?
Right? He'll get tired of it one of these days.
you laugh, but look at Brett Hull parted with his. I mean, Billy
That's
Smith
true.
parted with his recently. I mean, all the USA Miracle on Ice jerseys are slowly, seeping out one at a time. They'll show up.
Why do players? I don't want to get off topic. Why do players part with that stuff? I guess it doesn't have any significance to them. I guess it's just a shirt to them. But I mean, for me, oh my god.
We had Mike McKenna on the show a few weeks ago, and he was talking about players and jerseys and things, and it seems like a lot of the players are actually more attached to their sticks as opposed to the jerseys.
That's interesting, eh?
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting conversation. When you get a chance, pull that up on iTunes, podcast, whatever. I don't know. I just submit the thing. I don't know what it's called.
Paul, what about you? What's your grill?
I actually go back and forth between two jerseys, and both will be unattainable. I think they're both in the Red Wings archives. And it's just like Derek, it's a Stanley Cup Final jersey. It's the red one from 1998. I'd love to have the Yzerman jersey where he lifted the cup in 98 and then handed the cup to Vladdy. And the other jersey would be the one that Vladdy wore out there on the ice in his wheelchair. But when we started collecting, one of our collecting focuses was to get a Konstantinov jersey. And we got a beautiful 97 red one. And that's something that's never in the collection. And to me, getting that 97 Konstantinov one was the Grail we were looking for. And this is where things change. I know what the one I want from 98. It's just, I think the Wings own it, and they're not going to sell anything from their archives. Not even, like the Nyquist they put in a couple years ago. Even if he doesn't turn out to be a superstar.
They might eventually, though. Like, who knows how long they're going to hold on to this stuff for,
Yeah, and who knows what they have in there. I would love to see what they have in their archives.
I really wish they would make that a little bit more public. I mean, I think the Blackhawks are building something right now for their archives, so people can actually see it and enjoy it.
Yeah, I know the Wings rotate some of it in the displays they have there, but that's only a few jerseys here and there, in the skates and some other cool stuff. But I don't know anyone has a good sense of what's really in there, which would be cool to know.
And we got Tom just connecting with us. Tom, what's your one single Grail jersey?
Can you hear me?
Just
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. I would probably say, as a kid, my favorite player growing up was Gary Roberts of the Calgary Flames. So probably anything during that time period when they won the Stanley Cup, preferably a white one, just so you could see all the marks and the wear and tear on it.
Can't say I know that Gary Roberts player. I
He's
think it
on the
might be
Calgary
before my
Flames.
Wasn't there just a Gary Roberts posted a few days ago on the Facebook group for sale?
Yes, it was the seatbelt version of the Calgary Flames. This one's probably, I think, during the 87 or 88 when they won the Stanley Cup, the Calgary Flames.
Nice. Yeah, the one on Facebook right now is 95, 96.
Yeah.
Still a
Gary
nice-
Roberts, despite
Yeah.
the fact that I don't think he'll make the Hall, he's such an iconic player, you know.
I think the only person we haven't heard from on this is Eric.
Whoa,
I'd
you
say-
still got me. I actually have a Grail, but Eric,
Oh
go
yeah,
ahead, go ahead.
you too. You keep on saying you don't have one. I keep on forgetting that doesn't mean that you actually don't have one that exists. All right, well let's hear
Yeah,
from Eric, and we'll have Marco wrap it up here.
Yeah, you know what? Being a Blackhawk goalie, I do have a Belfour jersey, but I'd say my quote unquote Grail would be the one he wore against was in the playoffs. Was interfered with, game-winning goal was scored. I would say that one because I remember screaming my head off as a goalie, and he was clearly interfered. But the days of the '90s, rules swayed one way or another depending on what team you were, and just the rules were different. So, and just showing him swinging that stick and just smashing off the net, and just the intensity there, and soon after the Hawks were gone out of that round. But to me, that's significant because that was kind of when I put it into me when I was playing, and he just was my overall favorite guy. And trying to find a Belfour Hawk jersey that's legit is a hard enough task itself. And
They had that one that just
come out,
went in GameWorn.us.net, didn't they?
Yeah, there were
they've
some
had 'em on
concerns of what I
GameWorn,
can remember.
and there's been a few that not been truly, I don't think, legit or backdoored and questionable out of the Gunzo store. So I'm trying to find a photo match to that game. To me, is the Grail just because of personal experience and just knowing how he is and stuff like that. So there is feelings of closeness because it's something that affected me, like we were talking about earlier, and stuff like that. But to me, it's just finding a good Belfour jersey with something significant like that is to me. So to me, that's a Grail, and I doubt I'll ever see it. To be honest with you, that's kind of my right there.
And can I say something? I think a lot of people, and I think it's important what you said, a lot of people are not willing to, the proper word would be, but not willing to believe that their Grail could be something that is actually unobtainable, or for the most part unobtainable. And I think that's part of it too. And I think that people just want to say they have a Grail, and that's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. Like a guy like you have the utmost respect for, because your Grails you probably think you'll never be able to own, and that's completely respectable. It should be important to you when you actually are able to obtain it, if you are lucky enough to obtain it. And I think that's lost on some people.
And you know what? I have a Belfour jersey, and other goalies and players I have multiples of too, and I've tracked ones down that I haven't thought have been obtainable and stuff. But I've also have that personal connection with stuff too. So it goes back to the topic we were talking about before, where there's that personal connection. I know some of the players I've attended as a kid growing up and with multiple Hawk goalies. So I had that connection. Now, to me, I always loved Hasek. I loved his weird style of play. Now, I know I'll never see probably a legitimate Hawk one that's not been altered, or there's been one or two in question out there. But to not my Grail, it's on my want list, a highly sought out want list. But if I got it, great. To me, it's not a Grail, if that makes sense. Where, yeah,
that makes complete sense.
More Belfours out there and stuff like that, but there's a significant game, a significant point in time, something that, you can photo match and obtain it. There's documentation on it. There's the history of that player. To me, a significant event that makes it a Grail in my mind. Where some guys will say, I want X player's 100th goal or 1,000th game or whatever the case is. That's my Grail at a significant point in time. Maybe that was what makes it as well. So, there could be different classifications, like a career high like that. Some guys might be stat people, and that's how they collect for a certain specifics, and that might be deemed their Grail as well. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that either.
I just got a message from listener M. Costanza who says Belfour might part with a few Hawks gamers for some Margarita mix and tequila.
Yeah, Belfour gamers are generally more expensive because they have all that cocaine residue on them, which you can probably.
Is that from him or his son? In the college party days, I don't know.
I don't know.
And that's the thing. Some of that stuff on some of those goalie gear forums, and we talked about this offline before. Some of that stuff comes out, and Eddie and his kid put it back out in their little vault as it came out for a few minutes out on public or social media. So, yeah. So, to me, that adds more to the mystique and the Grail when you have some players like teasers of their collection or what they have, and you'll probably never see it. So,
I have a Belfour gamer, and ironically enough, I'm looking for a Fuhrer gamer, and I think those two guys probably did more cocaine than anyone. Probably the NHL right now combined. So that's just odd. I don't know. Goalies are a different breed, I suppose.
Yeah, we certainly
crazy.
are. Now,
Jared Stoll disagrees.
Oh my!
Allegedly.
we're going down a
yeah.
path.
Oh, come on! Didn't the guy when he had a ceremony at Maple Leaf Gardens? It was so funny. I think it was the Hockey Hall of Fame game, and the other guys were in suits, and Belfour wore a leather jacket. It was so funny. The other I forget who the other inductees were, but they were kind of laughing and joking with it. But you know what? There's nothing wrong with a guy like that. He's just a really relaxed. If I was going to the Hockey Hall of Fame, which I, would never happen. I'm a horrible hockey player, but I'd be the guy wearing the leather jacket. So. Respect Belfour for that.
We got some listeners name dropping as well, throwing in Richards and Carter.
For Grails?
For apparent drug abusers.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Richards, yeah. Jeff Carter, eh?
Yeah, that was the story in their Philly days.
Well, maybe more players should do cocaine. Those guys are amazing.
Well, I got a John Cordick, and he's not going to make it into the Hall of Fame. At least not Hockey Hall of Fame.
No.
Cocaine Hall of Fame. All right.
My if I had a Grail, my Grail would be a 1980-1981 Daryl Sittler Sandow, and they wore the Sandows only for a period of about 2 to 3 months. And Daryl Sittler was such a class act, and the 10-point game, and the captain of the Leafs, and it's just being such a rare jersey, and just something that would, because the Leafs only wore the Sandows for 2 or 3 months, just something that would stand out so much amongst the other jerseys. That would be guaranteed be the jersey I would want to obtain. But in terms of being able to afford it, I don't know. I don't know if I would ever be able to afford a jersey like that.
Well, we'll keep an eye out. It's on your list.
Yeah, keep an eye out for that one.
I think the first step is figuring out where it's at.
Let me know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a pretty good moment to switch focus to The ever increasing problem that I have with social media and the use of it in our hobby. Now, I don't know how much you guys use it, and I know there's a bunch of people that don't, but I keep on seeing a focus shifting from the use of like web forums to Facebook. And I tell you, it drives me crazy. The biggest problem that I have at this point in time with Facebook is the overabundance of groups that exist for this hobby. And I can understand the need for it because honestly, you have the one group that encompasses everything. Then you have the segment groups of I only want to hear about this team. But I mean, daily I get added to 3, 4 new groups. I've got groups on my list that are repeats of themselves because this person fought with that person, and so well I'm gonna start my own and this, that, and the other. And then we have other ones where they're exactly the same group, just by 2 different people because this other person doesn't like this other person. And I mean, I've got a list of over 100 different groups, and I've had to remove myself from groups just because I can't stand the notifications. And then what's the point of being in it if you're not checking it? And I don't check it if it doesn't give me the notifications. And then you get into the whole, we've got what, 2,000 people in the main group that we look at right now. And so you go to post something that you want for sale, right? Well, then next thing you know, there's 8 more for sale posts, individual posts from one specific person that pushes all yours way down. And then there's another topic and another topic. And none of this stuff is like titled or anything. Like you have to read the whole thing to even get to the point. There's not like a small little quip that says, this is what this post is going to be about. It's the whole thing. It's all or nothing type deal. And then the scrolling and the scrolling and the scrolling. And I find it to be a bad platform. And at least with something like web forums, you can segment it. You can see by the little indicator when something's new in that forum, if you even want to look at it. Otherwise, you mark it as read. And you don't have to see like an entire 50-line message. You can read a title. Based on the title, you can see if you want to read it, go into it. Then it's more organized, it's searchable, and for me, it's much easier to navigate. And I understand the ease of use of Facebook. You pop it open on your phone, you type a few things, you hit enter, boom, it's out there. But it's driving me crazy. I don't know if anybody else has these problems, but wow, I mean, so many groups.
Hey, not to mention all those bullshit Grail posts, though, eh, Derek? I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, I mean, what kind of asshole wants to dock these people about talking about their Grails, man? Who does that? That's so wrong.
Who wants to chime in?
I'll chime in. I don't necessarily have a problem with it. I can stress out about other things than scrolling. But I will say I don't get added to a ton. I'm on like maybe 4 or 5, and
I envy you.
Yeah. I get added, but it's really easy to unadd yourself or delete yourself. Or I don't care about certain leagues. Jersey collectors of whatever league. I stick to a couple teams, and that's about it. Just kind of seeing what's out there. And some people will post things in every single form. That drives me crazy, because then you get 4 emails or notifications of somebody selling the $120 jersey of some guy. But that drives me crazy. But it's really easy to delete it. I don't get too stressed out about it.
I feel like sometimes,
but I will say the Facebook has brought a whole new realm of people into the hobby, I think, where if you look back, I would say 5 years ago, where you had .net, you had Ice Jerseys, you had GameWorn.us, you had a couple forums, and really that was it. And we all know that .net, wouldn't let new people register. They had to get approved, and no one was approving them. So it was kind of just a good old boys network, if you will. The guys that have been there from the beginning, and that was it. So,
I'd say it's brought a lower echelon of collectors in, to be quite honest with you. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with people collecting, a fourth liner from 2013, 2014. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you look at what's posted on GameWorn.us, GameWorn.net, or the other traditional forums, it's the caliber of jerseys is usually a little bit higher than what you see on Facebook, And I guess it's not for everyone. Maybe some people just want to own the 13, 14 jersey. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But like Derek said, I mean, I must get like 100 emails a day from Facebook, just because. What do? You don't want to be left out of the loop, so you join these. You join 12 GameWorn jersey groups, and you set your notification options so that you don't miss out on that one jersey. But my God, is it a horrible, horrible search? I must have to go through about 10,000 emails to find one jersey I want. Maybe. I've never even bought a jersey off of a Facebook forum, so it is what it is, I suppose.
I think one of the big problems I have too is when we actually have a good conversation about like questions about authenticity or tips about doing this or just good content. Finding that later is such a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember the last thing. I've given up on trying to find old threads on Facebook. I mean, I can remember like a rough idea of what the topic is, but finding it later is just a pain. It's unbearable. And I mean, like, when I know something's on like GameWorn.us forum, I go there, I type in the search bar, like a couple keywords from it, and bam, it's right there for me. Cataloged, everything is beautiful. And that's, I wish Facebook was better at cataloging information, because they just dump everything into one spot.
The one thing I like about the forums, Derek, have you ever thought about doing like the collector sites type thing that GameWorn.net does? Have you ever thought about doing something like that? Because I think that really differentiates the forums from a public avenue like Facebook.
I have something like that right now where you can build a page through our main site, not through the forum. But I have different ideas in my head that I want to develop. It's just costly to do that. I want to be able to like integrate Flickr, because I know the API is out there. I want to be able to like have albums in albums, and then be able to drag and drop your photos and arrange them in like Java. But Java development's pretty expensive, and it kind of takes a little bit of know-how, and integrating that with accounts and layout through PHP is a little bit more complicated, and unfortunately I don't have time, and it, like I said, it's a little bit costly, so that's another holdup that I have.
If you gave your kid up for adoption, you probably would be able to have the funds to do that. So
I think they call that a sale, and I think selling your kids is illegal.
And I think part of we also have enough people who are good in a number of these areas. It's just finding the time. Sometimes it's easier to pay someone to develop this and just have it done, rather than experimenting with new areas. There where we have a number of experts in these areas to do it. One thing I would like to add in on the Facebook side of things is for people like Derek, just using an example, someone who's having issues with Facebook, are you mostly on a mobile device or on the desktop?
I flip-flop between the two. I mean, it depends on what I want to do or what I'm trying to read or stuff like that.
Because I've had good luck.
Is that Franzen?
Whose dog is that?
That's got to be Franzen.
That's mine. That's Holly. Come on over here, Holly.
Oh, new dog. I don't know that dog.
Yeah, our other dogs were barking. So she's an older poodle blind dog that we recently adopted. So if they bark, she has to bark. She's in the office with me. But on Facebook, have you tried Social Fixer?
I'm not sure what that is.
It's a nice add-on which helps organize all the crap you get on Facebook and filter it well. Creating different tabs within Facebook. I've used it for a long time. I stopped using it about 1 or 2 months ago when I ran into some bugs with it, but I want to give it a try again. And it does help with some of the issues you're talking about with all the sites. Now, of course, another solution is not to have so many different groups. For some teams, it's absolutely ridiculous. A few teams have 3 or 4 pages just dedicated to GameWorn.
I find it fragments the hobby, to be honest. I feel like there's a lot of fragmentation, and there's like factions because this person doesn't like this person, so I don't want to be in a group that they're in. It's like, get over it, coexist, and ignore.
But then the counter argument to that is, like we had with GameWorn.net back in the day, you have one site that basically says, okay, you're an asshole, okay, we'll take you on, no, you said something, bad about us, so you're banned. So there's the whole, free speech argument and whatever. I mean, I understand that completely,
And that's actually why I like having 2 general large groups. It's never good to have a complete monopoly, unless you're the monopoly. And this works out well. I mean, my issue with all the main groups is we then have a lot of other smaller main groups where really their only traffic is people posting for sale posts after they post in one of the 2 main groups or both of the main groups. It's really a subset of the other ones. I've very rarely seen a jersey start in one of the smaller general groups, not the team specific, and not go to the other 2 main groups.
Now, we've got a question from our readers concerning distribution. They're noticing that a lot of teams are actually trying to sell jerseys themselves. They want to know if we like the idea of teams doing that, or do we like them doing like the Migrate way? Using Calgary and Minnesota as an example.
Dislike big time, unless they do it properly, which is
they probably haven't heard my rants in some of the previous broadcasts.
Yeah, I mean, my personal opinion is I think any team, or at least most of the teams that do it wrong because they don't have the attention to detail that we're looking for, and they can't do it better than we can, which is annoying, especially when they don't know what they have, don't know what we're looking to know about the jersey, don't want to correspond with us when we have questions on it, don't know how to price them, ship you the wrong jersey. I mean, how many of you guys have gotten that? I know Paul luckily got on the better end of that, but a lot of the stuff just...
I just had to ship one back this week.
I mean, teams, it's great that they want to sell it and sell direct, and that's great, and it looks good for them, whatever. But they don't have people that are in their organization that get paid to specifically do this. They put somebody that's in merch to handle these jerseys. I mean, just a second. I mean, with my local team, the Walleye, we've had like it's kind of like a pre-order list, an unofficial pre-order list, or what we thought was a pre-order list, and then other jerseys were being sold to people that weren't on this list, that were on people's lists. You know what I mean? So it's like there's no consistency as to who gets what jersey and when, and is everybody in the organization on the same page? All right, I sell it through the shop, but an online order came in. What do we update? Things like that. And the question here
let me say something nice about Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. I've been critical about them in the past on this show, but we just had a Toronto show for collectors, and they actually had a representative show up, show us some of the stuff in their archives, and actually, they were just nice guys. This guy wasn't a hobbyist, but he certainly appreciated everything that we brought and the aspect of the hobby, and they they had some handouts of Toronto Maple Leaf shirts and stuff like that. So I think that, listen, I love My Gray. I like what My Gray does. I think it adds legitimacy to the hobby. And the Maple Leafs right now, they have a split agreement between My Gray and their own thing, which is Real Sports. But I think that it might be getting better, which is good news for the hobby, because I do think it needs that legitimacy, and I don't think a lot of the teams do it very well. I mean, the Montreal Canadiens, I know, have had their issues, people complaining on the forums about, they order a jersey and 6 months later it's still not shipped, and people being shipped the wrong jerseys and this and that. But I think that if teams see the money and profit involved in doing it, and really, I mean, come on, for all the shirts these guys wear, you could hire one guy per year to just be in charge of selling equipment, and they would still make a fortune. I'm just hoping it's turning the page, and with MLSC, maybe it is.
Now, I've had experience with them, and the experience I've had with them is really good. I mean, my contact's Brandon Marsh up there, and he's hooked me up with some stuff, and it's been really cool. But I know people that have had bad experiences with them as well, and I'm not sure. M. Costanza is messaging saying that one of the things he's concerned with is the markups outside of the team can be pretty high. And in my opinion, on some of those, you're going to be right, because the distributor is looking to maximize the amount of money that they can get. So if it's a player that they think they can sell for a lot of money, they will try to do that. However, one of the things that we pay for in that distribution avenue is knowing what we have and handling. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my Red Wings, but a lot of you may have known the issues that I've had with patches on jerseys and correspondence with the set stamps and things like that. And it's those little things that drive us batty as collectors that they just don't cater to. Especially like when teams list their jerseys online, like Minnesota, they have a picture of the front and a picture of the back. And it's from far away, and it's small, and you can't see the wear on it. And they'll have 3 sets. So there's 3 white jerseys, and they look all exactly the same. And you're trying to get the one that has the most wear, and you're just like, what do I do? So, I mean, it's such a mixed bag between the teams handling them and a distributor handling them. I think there can be an intermediary. I know the teams don't want to miss out on the money, but find the right deal for you. There will be people, collectors in the hobby, distributors available that'll help you or work with you or do a special deal with you. I mean, GameWorn.us, I know they're looking for somebody to partner with, or they're always looking for somebody to partner with, and we've been working with the Crunch just in promotion and nothing beyond that. So, I mean, there's a lot of avenues for these teams to do better. And I really hope that we can get to a point where either they look inside themselves to do better, or they go outside and strike a deal that works for them that can do better.
I think as the hobby evolves and game-worn jerseys, I mean, it's really taken off in the last 5 years. It's just become incredible. I mean, the people that got into the hobby, like 10, 15, 20 years ago, they're rich off the hobby now. But I think that in terms of the money that's there and the opportunity, teams really should be looking to professionals to market their stuff. I mean, it's like any other organization. I mean, you should really be looking to give. I'll say a company like MyGray, they have not. I won't say they have marketing. I mean, it's still game-worn jersey collecting is still a niche hobby when you look at all the major hobbies out there. But if you ask any jersey collector, game-worn jersey collector, if they know about MyGray, they'll say yes. And that's marketing to me, and to me, I think more teams should hop on board with that stuff. I think it adds legitimacy to the hobby, and I think that they do it right. And I've got, I'm not always keen on their prices, but they have sales and stuff like that. So I'm just hoping it goes in the right direction. I think it is for the most part.
Well, one team which I think does get it right, which we haven't mentioned yet, are the Winnipeg Jets. The way Pat Lilliott handles that program is absolutely wonderful. If you want to know about where or anything, he's easy to get a hold of. They do provide decent photos, and I don't know anyone's had an issue with a purchase from them. But then
It's
again,
because
you
they're going
have
outside the
basically someone
organization.
who has a lot of experience in the hobby running the program.
Yeah, and that's what I would really like to try and promote to these teams if we can, persuade them. Because, I mean, these are kind of important things, and, it really helps solidify the program that they're running, especially when you have, and I'll say Pat Elliott he's a professional, so when we can get professionals that are handling things instead of just an intern within NHL organization, I mean, you're really adding to the I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is, the legitimacy of the hobby. When you're having people out there that just kind of throw a sticker on it and say, buy this, I mean, you're really taken away from that. And isn't that one of the things that we really need to strive for, is legitimacy in the hobby? If we don't have that, then we don't have much.
A patch on a jersey is not legitimacy to me. I mean, you can take it so much further. The teams that are willing to sell their own stuff have their own photographers. I mean, why not work with the photographers to say, hey, you get a picture of this guy during the game? I mean, was he wearing this jersey? I mean, the photo matching opportunities, which really can drive up the price, are remarkable. I mean, it really could become a really lucrative business opportunity for a lot of these teams, which I don't think they're capitalizing on it.
Some of them don't care.
Teams are just super lazy. They really are.
Yeah, they are. They are.
I have a photo match included with one of my jerseys from a team that is obviously the wrong jersey. Obviously. Nobody cares.
I don't give a shit.
Nope. And that's the problem.
But people are willing to pay so much money for these jerseys. It's not like Authentics, okay? Authentics are, they're easy to produce and stuff. Everyone gets that, right? But people are willing to pay a lot of money for things that are game worn. I mean, it's endless. It really is endless. When you look at some of the prices some of these jerseys have sold for, I mean, even new jerseys. I mean, are you kidding me? Like, the opportunities are out there, and it's only going to go up. So I don't understand how you can't hire some, kid with half a brain and hire him on for $50,000 to market your entire game-worn jersey program and have some kind of partnership with MyGray. I think that you should at least consult professionals on it. And, work with the team's photographers, because they're all there at every single game. You could market jerseys, before they're for sale as photo matched. I mean, think about that.
Yeah. I mean, what it comes down to eventually, and I think this is a great topic for another time too, is trying to get a hold of these teams, letting them know what they want and what they can do. I don't know how many of the teams actually know that we're out here, or care that we're out here, or know that we're so easily accessible or willing to work with them. So, I mean, that's one of the things that we can do in the next step. But that is definitely a conversation for another time. We are running out of time, but I definitely want to thank our panel. Thanks, everybody, for calling in. And everybody that's been out there listening and submitting questions definitely have added to the show this week, so I appreciate that. Next week, the 23rd. Is that next week? Yep. The 23rd, we're going to have Jeff Lurg from the Toledo Walleye on to talk about some of the stuff that he's seen, as well as things that he collects as well. So it'll be a really cool show for those that want to join. So thanks again, guys, for joining.
Cheers, man.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
It was great. Thanks.